To tow or not to tow? That is a nomad question that you get in this lifestyle. The lifestyle of living mobile, of living out of your vehicle, of being a traveler. One of the main questions is, do you want to tow? Do you want to tow a vehicle? If you want to tow something, you're going to purchase a travel trailer. You're going to need a hitch on your vehicle. Your vehicle is going to have a tow rating capacity to support whatever travel trailer you're going to buy. In addition, if you're going to tow, you're going to have to locate campgrounds that are in the areas that you want to be. You're going to have to calculate the cost of those campgrounds, whether they're part of a membership or not. You're also going to have to calculate the added cost of fuel. In addition, you have to calculate how many times do you plan to move that travel trailer in the course of a month, 2 months. Usually most campgrounds have a max stay of 2 week long. 14 consecutive days on average is the longest you can stay at any one campground. You have to leave, go to a different campground, and then you could come back. Depending on what campground will depend on how many days you need to be out of that park. Are you going to go to an RV park and stay an extended period of time and just leave your travel trailer parked? Are there openings in the campgrounds that you plan to visit in a certain time of year? Example, if you have a travel trailer and you want to come to Florida in the winter, a lot of the campgrounds are booked. So to get an opening, you either have to reserve way in advance or you have to pay a little bit extra to have that convenience. So there's a lot of variables, some of which I just mentioned. Also, look, when you bring your travel trailer to the location, if you're towing something, you don't just drop it off, right? I mean, there's some work involved. You have to back it up. It's a little bit more difficult driving with a travel trailer. Your braking distance between you and the person in front of you is less. So you have to drive slower, be more cautious of your surroundings. You have to cut the corners wider at the gas station so you don't hit anything. You got the length of your car, plus you have the length of the travel trailer, so you could be driving something that's 30 foot long plus. And when you get to your campground, you got to back it in. If you're going to be a solo traveler, you don't have anyone spotting you in the back, meaning you don't have anyone directing you. So, now if you have a real small trailer, it may not be an issue. And certainly you get better over time. So I don't want to scare you, but these are some things you have to consider. And when you back the travel trailer up, you have to level it. You have to put jacks on, so you have to have extra components. Okay, a couple extra hand tools to level things, to hook up the hoses. You have to hook up the electrical cord. You have to hook up the water hose. You have to hook up the sewer drain. Level it, set it up, get it going. And then when you leave it, you want to probably lock the hitch so someone can't just, put it on their pickup and leave. And you're not having everything with you all the time. That's the lifestyle of someone who is going to pull a travel trailer. It doesn't mean it's a bad life, because in many instances, it has a lot of pros. What are the pros? The pros are, that's a mini house. That's a tiny house. So once you go through all the things we just mentioned, once you go to your campground, you have everything a regular house does. Most travel trailers are self-contained. So you can stand up. If you get sick, everything you have, you can stay in that travel trailer for weeks. You have a bathroom, you have a kitchen. If you like to cook, that's a plus. And so there's value there. It's not just all negative. There's more work there. There's more planning a trip. There's more planning a trip if you're going to pull a travel trailer. The alternative is, if you don't tow, if you say to tow or not to tow. You say, Sam, I don't want to tow because I'm a little bit lazy. I'm not a great driver. I'm getting older. I don't want the fuss of always having to schedule campgrounds. I don't want to tow. And I understand that. For 3 years, I've lived out of my Jeep, and I think there's also tremendous value in simplicity. Less components, less stress, and more flexibility. There's nothing more flexible than living in your car or van. Car and van living is the most flexible. Car is the greatest because it's most fuel efficiency, most stealth, etc. Van, still very good in all those things, but less fuel efficient. And, it's a little bit more of an eyesore because a van sticks out a little bit more. But if you're not going to tow, you're going to live in a car, van, or possibly a motorhome, whether it's a Class B or whatever. So if you're going to have a motorhome, your cost for the initial purchase are going to be higher, your fuel costs are going to be higher, and you may not need a campground all the time, but still you have to consider the planning of the trip versus a car or van. So if you don't tow and you don't want a motorhome because that's still a lot of fuss, even though you don't have to tow anything, then you say, well, a van on average is probably the most basic general recommendation. Most vans you can't stand up in, even though there are some you can. Most vans in the summer, if you went to a campground, you could rig up some type of cooling system. You could probably even put a little porta potty. You have enough room where it's not extreme minimalism and you could still live a somewhat, normal type life with and make it, you could put little things in there that make it a little bit of a home. A car is the tiniest, smallest type of living, but it's the most flexible, most freeing. It favors the younger person, even though not always. I have seen some older people that go out of their car or SUV and they tent camp, or they just, that's their style. So to tow or not to tow, these are the things that you need to consider, that which I just mentioned. Like everything, I think it's going to start with your age, your health, and your mindset. Your age determines a lot, because not just of where you're at today, what's your projection 10 years from now. So like example, if you were 70 years old and you could still move around great, you're in good shape, do you really want to buy a travel trailer? Will you be doing this at 80? Now, maybe you will, or maybe you just want to enjoy your years, spend your money how you want. But you have to, I try to think about, 10 years is a long time, a lot changes. At least try to think about 5 years, a 5-year projection. Because the bigger the item you buy, the less flexibility. So the smaller item you buy, the easier you can get in and out of. Again, most people do well in a van. And a car is a low risk, kind of high reward, because you could always start with the car you have as long as you could fold down your back seats and you're of average size. And, a car, you can go to any car dealership, just trade back and forth for a different car. It's very liquid in one sense, not to say it's always financially beneficial to keep trading in. But a car has the least conveniences. You certainly can't stand up. You certainly don't have a lot of room. And that's a sacrifice. And you don't have a level of temperature control unless you would have a hybrid, something like a Prius. But even that, there's downside there. Your car, do you want to sleep in a car that if to run its air conditioning, even though it won't run the engine, it'll run off its hybrid battery, it's still going to start every 2 or 3 hours in the summer. So everything has trade-offs. Everything. There's no one answer for everyone. We're all individuals. We have our own fingerprint. What I shared with you was a mental exercise of like evaluation, just a quick overview. Do you want to tow or do you not want to tow? Towing requires more planning, more cost, more components. However, it also provides more comfort, more convenience, and more stability. Not towing, it's simpler, quicker, more flexible, possibly cheaper, but less comfort, less convenience in some instances, and less stability. You're moving around a lot. That's a general overview on the subject to tow or not to tow, which is a major nomadic question, living on the road full time out of your vehicle, being mobile, living mobile. And I want you to think about that, because there's two different lifestyles there. Two different. Within the same lifestyle, the nomadic lifestyle, what I just described to you, to tow or not to tow, are two different ways to live as a nomad. And they require a different mindset, a different way that you would have to plan and move. So I hope this mental exercise helped you. If it did, please click that thumbs up button. Leave a comment, share, would you rather tow? Yes or no? You can leave your own thing on what you would want to do for you. And subscribe if you're not. Check out my playlist on my Patreon. And I appreciate all the love and support. Have a positive day. Keep pushing forward. And remember, it's your life. You define it. and you go for it. Peace and love.